Hello and welcome to another episode of Evolve by Erica, the podcast. I am Erica Polsinelli, your host, and I am so grateful that you have been aligned here to talk about all things spirituality, 5D, higher consciousness, and above and beyond. Here we go. Come on in. Hi, guys, and welcome back to another podcast. I am very excited to talk about this topic today because it's something that's very relevant in my life. And I think no matter who you are and how you hold this space, I think it's something that we're all affected by and we should be aware of. And it's technology, social media, and the speed of technology. So as you know, and as I've spoken about before on the podcast, we are in the age of information. So back in, the 50s or 60s, it was predicted and projected that we would enter an age of information and over-information, where we would have access to so much information at the drop of our fingertips. And if you think about it, this was a pretty big prediction because in the past, we had encyclopedias. I remember going over to my grandparents' house and using their set of encyclopedias when I needed to learn something that was in their basement. And now, with a few clicks of the finger, we have a million Google searches that come up. So this is back years and years and years ago, decades ago, it is pretty wild to think about having access to the world at our fingertips. And we truly do. And there are so many benefits that come with it. And there's a lot of other aspects of it that I want to talk about today. So I'm grateful for technology because this is how I grew Evolve. And this is how Evolve really started. So I don't want to say effortlessly, but really organically and naturally. And it just unfolded so nicely because of how connected we are and because we have all of this information and contact to one another at our fingertips. So I'm very grateful for it. Always start off with gratitude. But something I'm definitely experiencing lately, and I think it's something that we should all be aware of, is how much information is out there on social media, how much content is continually brought to us, and finding the balance in that and being able to, and this is where our practice comes in, being able to decide for ourselves what it is we really want or what it is we really believe versus what we're almost brainwashed into because of what we're seeing and hearing. And I'm talking about literally just ads in general. So there's just so much information that's constantly coming to us, or not even just ads, but just things that are shared. And the more we see them, the more we believe them. And I think it's so important to have this practice of coming back to ourselves to make sure that we're being clear on what our intuition is saying versus what the energy of the world is saying. So I know as a content creator, there's so much pressure, and I'm being really transparent here and vulnerable as I always am here, but there's so much pressure to post and create and put information out every day. And as someone who's mindful and in tune spiritually, it can feel like so much. It can feel like so much. And a lot of the times it can feel like so much is being said. Where is the silence? Where is the stillness? Where is that pause that we need? Because technology is just advancing and advancing faster and faster in every moment. And I don't know about you guys, but there are many times in my day where I'm oh my gosh, how did I get back on Instagram and why am I scrolling? No, I cannot do this. I had a focus. I came on to send someone a message or answer a message or post something, and now I have to get back into my workflow. And I think this is something a lot of us are dealing with. And when we're on social media, as much as we feel like it's a break, sometimes we consciously take social media breaks. I know I do. Sometimes at the end of the day on the couch, I'm I get to just scroll, see what's going on in the world, see what my people are up to, and see what's happening. But that actually is not relaxing to our mind. We're actually not in a resting state. It's very much an active state. And we're looking into this device with blue light. And of course, our device gives us a lot of energy as well. And we do it with the thought of relaxing, but it really isn't at all. And what my concern is how are we going to continue at this speed of light with technology? How are content creators going to continue to pump out content every single day without feeling burnt out? How are people going to be able to consume until they feel just burnt out? And it's something that I'm continuing to think about very, very often, because it's when you can bring yourself to that slow space and you can look at things objectively, it just really is eye-opening about how much is going on and how much is being put out there and how quickly information is traveling. And now more than ever, I feel that it's so important to have a practice, to have a spiritual practice, so that we can tune back into nature, get back into our natural flow, because technology is really the opposite of that. Although it brings so many wonderful things, which it definitely absolutely does, I think it really is the opposite of nature. It's not naturally occurring. It's going to a speed that I feel like nature can't really keep up with. So taking time now is so essential to slow down, to check in with yourself, take a look at your insights or your, the data of how much time you're spending on your screen. And it breaks it down by app. I know if you have an iPhone, it breaks it down by app, and just being more conscious and aware of how much energy we're putting there. Because sometimes I get this message that it could be a very big distraction. We spend a lot of time on social media, and it could be a really big distraction from ourselves, from things that we need to deal with. Instead of taking some time to go within, think about how we're feeling and feeling the actual emotions we're feeling, we kind of like numb out and just go on social media and scroll and scroll and scroll and get into this little rabbit hole of scrolling. And it could also be a distraction keeping us from taking action into our purpose and into our higher self, because it's very time consuming and it's very addicting. I don't know if you guys watched, I think it's called The Social Network. I think it was called that. It was a documentary on Netflix that it shares how addicting this is and how we are getting addicted to this. And with that, I know a lot of people that, especially in just the climate that we're living in, people can feel depressed by always having this peek into other people's lives, or anxious, always seeing what's going on all over the world constantly, and really taking in that energy. And as we've spoken about, it's always so important to be aware of what's happening. But the type of footage that we're seeing today is different than what the body and the mind was able to process or experience 10, 20, 30 years ago. We literally have a window to every single thing that's going on, bringing us there. And we are more empathetic as a human species than ever before, because of the time that we're living on Earth, the light codes, the energetic upgrades we're receiving. And now we're able to not just hear stories written about in a newspaper of what's going on, we're able to see what's going on through our screen, triggering all of these emotions. And the body doesn't know what we're seeing with our eyes or what we're personally and actually experiencing ourselves. So we start to take on this energy and frequency of everything we're watching on our phone. And that is why it is so important to go through your account, think about the people who you follow, think about how they make you feel, and choose accordingly. And that doesn't mean, use your own discernment. I'm not trying to say bypass and unfollow anyone that brings up any type of uncomfortable emotion. I think it's so important to feel uncomfortable sometimes so that we could really dive in and uncover, why am I feeling uncomfortable watching this? Why is this person triggering me? Why do I feel triggered by this post? So I think that is so important. And to be able to do that work rather than just unfollow or troll them is really important. But what I'm really saying is, I remember when I first started my account, and I shared this with you guys before, I followed all spiritually aligned, high vibrational accounts, and I created this vortex of energy on my social media. Every post I saw was like, it fueled me. They were signs from the universe. There were synchronistic numbers. It was all spirituality that I followed because that's my interest, and that's what I was trying to build and create on InCal XCal when I started that from literally 0 followers. So I loved signing in. It was a safe place for me to go and feel supported and aligned. And I really recommend you doing a little inventory and just taking note of what accounts you follow, how your accounts make you feel, how much time you're spending on the screen, on social media, and understanding that we are living through a really intense time. This overinformation, we are upgrading our body and DNA to be able to handle, all of the information. See, as I clear, we're able to handle all of this information. And there are actually specific meditations. I'm laughing because there was this one meditation called the Mega Information Syndrome meditation to literally help to upgrade our body so that we're able to handle all that's out there, all that we're consuming. And that's what Kundalini yoga helps us to do. It helps us to strengthen our nervous system, have access to more of the channels in our body so energy can flow through more and there's not a traffic jam. And sometimes it could feel like we're in a traffic jam with all of this information that we're receiving and consuming. So for the month of May on the Evolve Exclusive, I'm going to be offering meditations around burnout. So protecting and preventing us from burnout, because since technology is advancing and moving so quickly, as users and consumers of technology, we're expected to do the same, and that can burn us out. So we're going to do a meditation for burnout, a meditation for mega information syndrome, so that we can be able to have more space in our body to handle all of the noise that's out and around us. And other ways to help you really align to nature and come back into flow and find that balance between nature and technology is getting outside, putting your bare feet on the ground, having time near the ocean or in the woods or on green grass, and just helping to clear and bring in all the negative ions so that you could ground your body and come back to that neutral space, coming back to nature. And the more that we get outside and we take those breaks, it's so important. We're really supposed to have our eyes on natural light first thing in the morning. And how many of us are most likely shoving blue light in our face as soon as we wake up? I'll be honest, some days I do it too. I try not to, but if I sleep a little late, I knew I had to get an email out, or I knew I had to answer an email. Sometimes that's just the way it is. But trying our best to have that natural light, our eyes receive that natural light first thing in the morning, is so healthy for our brain, our eye health, our body, and actually supports us and gives us so much energy. So those are some ways that can help us just balance this out. And I think I really wanted to do this episode just to bring awareness on this matter. And sometimes we don't look at it as a big deal because it's life and it's what everyone else is experiencing, but it is a big deal. We're going through a massive collective shift on the planet. Technology is moving at a rapid pace, and as users and consumers, we need to be aware of our energy and what we're doing to keep up. And Kundalini is all about keeping up. That's like the number one phrase for Kundalini. It helps us to keep up in life in every aspect, because we're opening up more channels in our body. We're bringing ourselves into flow. We're accessing more of our DNA so that we could keep up and evolve with the changes that go on here on Earth. So be mindful of your technology habits and look out for the meditations on the Evolve exclusive to help us with burnout and help us to really be able to handle all that's going on. And thank you guys for always showing so much support on social media. As a content creator, it's definitely a full-time job creating content, and it's just so I'm so grateful for the engagement, the likes, the comments, and the shares. They mean so much to me. And even if I don't repost the share in the time that you shared it, I want you to know I feel such a deep sense of gratitude for everything you guys share, because that's how I grow, that's how this account grows, and that's how my mission continues to grow. And that's really what my purpose is, to reach as many people as I can to help them access their highest self. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Sat Nam, may the longtime sun shine upon you.